She grew up with sand between her toes, salt in her hair, and SoCal sunshine in her soul. Today, she's a businesswoman, a wife, a mom, and one of the rare people who can actually say she was born and raised right here on the coast of Southern California in Orange County. On this episode of SoCal with Val, we're kicking off our flip flops and diving right into the real life of a true native. Dana Fights grew up in Huntington Beach, then to Long Beach, and now calls that area her home. And she's raising her beautiful young family in the same beachy playground where she grew up. What was it like as a kid? How has SoCal changed? Or even has it? And what stayed really golden? Where does she and her husband go to sneak away when it's just the two of them? And where can families find hidden spots that make living here so special? When you want to go just someplace local, where do you go? From weekend traditions and local favorites to the charm and challenges of raising a family by the beach, Dana's sharing her stories, favorite places, and why she can't imagine any place else, and why we're glad to have her close by. So stick around because this episode is as local as it gets. Welcome to SoCal with Val. Thank you, Dana, for being with us today.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, Val. That
You
was
are so
beautiful.
welcome.
Great
We're so
intro.
glad to have you with us. So, you are a true California native, a true Southern California native, born in Huntington Beach. What was your childhood like growing up by the beach?
I feel like one of the luckiest humans to be able to have grown up, on the sand. So I learned how to swim before I could walk, basically. So I was thrown into the ocean, into the harbor, is what my parents told me when I was probably 2 years old, right? And just learned how to swim. I loved living at the beach. So I did move around a lot within Huntington Beach when I was a little kid.
You
My
did.
parents divorced when I was about 3 or 4 years old, but
Aw.
it kind of gave me, it's okay, like I was able to live in so many different places within Huntington Beach and a little bit of Sunset Beach as well. And I spent I spent so much time on the beach, and I truly believe that when you live by the water, that it keeps you healthier for longer and that it helps you live longer, 1000%. So I feel super grateful that I was able to be born over here, and also still live not too far from the water. So, yeah.
And, I try to convince myself that if we lived someplace in another part of the country where there's a different kind of scenery, that I would be okay, where there's four seasons and where there's woods and hills and paths, between the trees. But there's just something to being close to the water that's hard to beat, that's for sure.
It's magical, 1000%. So once you're a water baby, some people can't leave, and I definitely cannot leave far from the
Well,
beach.
that's okay, we're glad that you didn't. What were some of your favorite beach memories as a kid? I mean, do you have anything that really sticks out? Any funny or unforgettable stories?
So I think they actually still do this because I believe I saw them do this when I was taking the boat out recently. But when I would go to this little baby beach in Huntington Beach, I would go to a small beach over there and they would bring like the fire boat, right? So the fire department, they have their own boat that they could take out for
Oh,
emergencies
oh,
for
right,
the
yeah,
firefighters.
right,
And
yeah.
they have a hose, right? And they just pull the water, the ocean water out, right? And they can spray it. But they would go to that baby beach, and as a kid, I remember getting so excited when they would come because I'd run out into the ocean with all the other kids and they would spray us with the big hose, right? And it was just a blast. I don't know. It was the small things that make the biggest memories. So I
That's true.
I can even remember just being like 3 years old and just getting like a bucket of KFC chicken and hanging out on the beach in the sand with my family and just making sandcastles and all that jazz. So, yeah, I would say the boat that the firefighters have that they take out and they spray the kids, they did that when I was a kid,
Oh, what a
35 years
wonderful
ago.
yeah,
And I
what
think
a
they brought it.
wonderful memory. Yeah, what a great memory.
Mhm.
So did you pretty much always hang around Huntington? Did you go down to Newport or at all, or did you go up to Sunset? I mean, was Huntington Beach kind of your place?
Yeah, so I went to Sunset Beach. Sunset Beach, I think, is also kind of a hidden gem. Not
Yeah,
a lot of people
definitely.
go to Sunset Beach. The parking is not as favorable in Sunset Beach if you're not from there, but the positives to it is that you don't have a lot of like, there's not a lot of people, right? So there's not a lot of traffic, there's not a lot of visitors. So you basically have the whole beach to yourself. And I did live in Sunset Beach for a while. And so I got to see it's not crowded, right? So if you want to go to a beach around here where it's not that busy and you have great waves too, I would say Sunset Beach is definitely a great option for you to go to. Parking just might be a little bit trickier, but I would go there. We go to Huntington Beach often. At some point in my life, I did live a mile from the pier, right? So I would just ride my bike or walk down. That's when I was in college too. So it was some of the best times, right? Going to the beach almost every day, doing some classes online, and I was a waitress at night, and I was tan. I was naturally fit from swimming all the time, and always got to go to happy hours in Huntington Beach off of Main Street. So didn't even need to make a lot of money at the time serving, and was living the best life. Going down to the beach and walking the pier, and yeah, it was lots of time in Huntington, lots of time in Sunset. Also spent some time in Seal Beach. Back in those days, they had rubies on the pier,
Right,
on
that's
both of
right.
those piers. So as you probably know, there's nothing on the Seal Beach Pier right now, burned down. And then Ruby's is now a different restaurant, which I have not been to in Huntington yet. I can't remember what it's called, but I do remember a lot of Ruby's days going down to the pier and getting my little kids' meal like in a car-shaped cardboard little box holder back in the day.
Absolutely. Well, so
Yeah.
what was SoCal life like as a teen? Like, there were surf contests. Did you have beach parties? Did you have bonfires? Because some of those things, like fires on the beach now, are a little bit more controlled. What kind of things? Cruising PCH? Did you cruise PCH in your cars in high school?
Yeah, I know those are all great. So I remember at the end of the year for school, at least in high school, we would have these huge bonfires and we would take all the stuff in our backpack and we would just burn all the paperwork. So it was
Really?
kind of like an end of the year shebang. Yeah. So we had
Yeah.
bonfires all the time. We had bonfires with friends constantly. Near in Huntington, near Bolsa Chica State Beach. And then my parents, they each had convertibles, even though they were divorced. They each loved convertibles, and we would constantly, especially with my father, we'd go up and down PCH. Like if he just needed to get a breather and get out, we would go up and down PCH in Huntington Beach with the top down, get some fresh air, look at the
Awesome.
waves. And that was how we kind of just like relaxed. You didn't need a lot when you lived by the ocean, just drive
Yeah.
down, look at the waves, and you just have this like sense of peace and tranquility. And then at the same time, you also feel a sense of energy and inspiration because you see these like powerful waves. And then you also think of endless opportunity. So I feel so blessed to have been raised, that close to the water because I would constantly have these, feelings of just like peace, tranquility, inspiration. I was always a dreamer because I live by the water and you're constantly thinking of things that you can create and things you can do. And so it's if you ever need some inspiration or to feel calm or inspired, I'd say you can always just take a drive down the beach in Huntington. And yeah, we would do that all the time, constantly. So
What do you think that people who moved here later in their life really misunderstand about growing up in Southern California?
I'll just be honest. A lot of people think, okay, you were raised by the beach, that you must be spoiled or stuck up or, there's
Oh,
some sort of type of person. And I think that's the complete opposite, right? Like, I know so many people that were raised near the beach that are so laid back and so low key. And I think there's a misconception there. And I think when it was a smaller town, it was really just like those were the people that were very tight together. And now you're getting people from all over the country, the world that are moving in and buying properties. And it's kind of also changing that dynamic a little bit. But I, yeah, I think maybe just being raised when there was just less people around. And I would say Ruby's was a huge staple for anybody that was raised in Huntington Beach. Going to Ruby's on the pier was something that I most of us enjoyed. I would say that's no longer here. You can't just go down and see servers on roller skates serving you
no.
food while you dine on a pier, right? Like that's pretty amazing or fun
Well,
memories to have, I would say.
yep, absolutely. Well, that's a good one to bring up, that for sure. And also Jack's on the beach, right? Was there Jack's, a hangout on the beach where like a burger place?
There's
What was
Fred's.
it called?
There's like a Fred's right there on the corner.
I
Jack's is
wasn't
like a
there.
shopping shop, like you can buy like yeah, surfing.
What do you think is the biggest change you've seen in the beach communities since you were a kid? Is it the shopping, is it um, the commercialization, so to speak, of Main Street? What do you think is the biggest change?
Yeah, so I actually live in Lakewood now, next to Long Beach, right? And I have a condo in Long Beach still, and I lived there for 5 years. And I can say one of the big differences, and actually, I'll be going to a music experience in Huntington Beach soon. I would say there's a lot more events, a lot of music experiences and festivals, and they're trying to bring more people down here. So in Huntington, or in Long Beach, there are a lot of events that are happening, and I don't think there were as many back in the day. And so there was Warp Tour that just happened too last weekend with a lot of different, basically a music festival. There's constantly things that are taking place and movies on the beach, right? That you can do in Long Beach, which is something great to do with your family or your significant other or your friends. I don't think they've had those forever, but I feel super grateful to have so much to do in this area, and so many different events to go to. I know when I was in Huntington, when I was, high school, college time, we always looked forward to the US Open, right, which still takes place for surfing. And they would have bands then and events and the surfing contest. Um, but now, I think they have more music events that they're bringing to that area.
Are there any places that are still the same?
Captain Jack's is in Sunset Beach. That was my dad's
Exactly. Absolutely.
Well, my dad's first job when he was like 15 or 16, he was a dishwasher.
Yeah,
And they serve, seafood, crab, artichokes, all the good food, and it's still there and almost the same, I believe. So I think that's something that's remained untouched. And then Harbor House is over there in Sunset Beach. That's been a staple for
a
if you
long
need like
time.
some kind of like diner-ish type of food there, but it's
Yeah,
off of PCH and it's delicious, a great go-to.
yeah.
I've been there many times and that hasn't really changed much either. So I think those are a couple that I can think of that haven't changed.
Yeah, those are fun, and some of those funky places along PCH. If there's any one thing that you or 2 things that you could say, "I hope that never changes," what would that be?
I just want people to be able to have accessibility, to the beach when they come and just spend time and on the ocean and really just relax and enjoy the sunshine. Like get in the ocean, go to the sand. I want everyone to have access to come here to experience it, right? To go to Sunset Beach, to go to Huntington Beach. I know that when they're building all these new complexes and apartments and condos and storefronts and everything, it gets a little bit more difficult for people to get down here easily, right?
It
So that's
is.
kind of what my desire is to make it accessible. I don't want that. I don't want you to have to live right there on the water in order to get there.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice of you to think of others that way, and we all hope that here as well. So let's talk about family life. So now you've graduated from high school, now you're a mom, right?
Yes.
You're a mom of who you call mini me, and she
Hmm.
absolutely is. For anybody who knows you, has ever seen you with your little girl, that little girl is absolutely mini you all over the place. And she's just about as cute as she could possibly be. She gets a big grin on her face, and she's just absolutely priceless. She's just so cute.
Thank you
So,
so much.
what are your favorite kid-friendly beaches and parks? What do you do with your little girl?
Yeah, so we actually just went to the beach at the end of the peninsula because again, I live in Lakewood right now, which is close to Long Beach. So we went to the beach at the end of the peninsula, which is really close to the ocean, right? So it's the cleanest water you can get. It's constantly flowing right there, and it's nice and convenient because it's near some restrooms over there if you go to the end of the peninsula. But it's just there's no waves, right? So it's perfect for my
Right.
toddler because she can hang out and she used a tiny little kayak yesterday for the first time. It was so cute.
Oh,
And then also sat on some paddle boards, right, when she had some adults, behind her assist with that. But yeah, so we went to the peninsula. There's also a place called Horny Corner over here in Long Beach. that over near Second Street, that you can, and Belmont Shore, that you can go and visit. So that also has no waves, which is great for families. When my daughter gets a bit older, we'll be taking her more to Sunset Beach and Huntington Beach, but those are big waves too. Like I want her to be able to hang out at the little beaches, right? Where
Oh, of course.
there aren't huge waves for her right now. That's always, you know, if I were to go to Huntington, I would take my daughter to the beach that's at the end of Davenport,
Oh,
or at the end of Edinger. There's two little beaches I used to always go to that are still there. Again, that's where I used to go when they would have the fire boats spray the hoses. But those are all really good locations to go where there aren't waves for your little kids. Um,
uh,
but if they can swim confidently and swim underneath waves, then I would go to either Sunset Beach or Huntington Beach.
and your daughter seems to have an endless and excitable, I'll call it, sense of adventure. She just seems to enjoy doing new things as most children do, but especially your little girl. She just giggles. She has just this biggest smile on her face. So anyone around her would be infected by her happiness, that's for sure. So
Thank you.
what's a perfect weekend with your child? If you have a weekend off, which I know you don't always because you work on one day or either Saturday or Sunday out with your clients. If you had a weekend, you could plan, what would you do? What's a perfect weekend?
Yeah. So, I don't live that far from Laguna Beach, but I really truly feel like I need to spend more time there than I do because Laguna Beach feels like you're somewhere very far away, right? Like their beaches just feel like look crystal clear. So I feel like I'm at a different island with clear blue water. And a lot of there's like little kind of coves that feel
That's
private
right.
on
Yes.
the water where you have kind of a private little beach that you can find.
Yeah.
So if I was recommending to somebody that wanted to spend time at the ocean, that would be something that I would love to do with my daughter too, because there's places where the waves aren't too big. Is spending a weekend over there in Laguna Beach, finding a private little cove, right? Usually there's little stairs that take you down to this private little coves and you have your little sanctuary. And you'll see rock formations and crystal clear blue water. That would be honestly the perfect weekend would be staying over there and spending time.
I have, but it's been a long time, but speaking of, and I don't know whether you're aware of this, Dana, or not, but in Laguna Beach, in the canyon, is the Marine Mammal Association. It's a place where they take the sea animals that are sick, a whale or a dolphin or even turtles, and they cure them there.
Oh,
And
wow.
I don't know whether you've ever been there. It has a red barn if you go through the canyon, and they're rebuilding it. And so we actually the director was on one of our previous episodes. So I'll send you that information because they also have special programs for little children so they can take them through and show them, and special classes for them. They can sit down and have a little class about whatever it is. And it was a great guest, and it's a great place. So if you like the aquarium, you might like that as well.
I love that. No, and anything that has to do with any animals and learning and hands-on and education, all about that. So thank you for offering to share that.
It's always good. So let's talk about hidden gems. Tell us your secrets. Are there any little hidden gems that you just wish you could keep a secret?
I don't know. I'm not a very secretive person. I share a lot with others. Kind of an open book.
But when you go
Uh,
in and you say, "Oh, I wish that we didn't I wish the tourists would never find out about this place."
I mean, I honestly spend. You know what's really funny is that like I think that a lot of people still don't know about this, even though they're trying to promote it. But do you know about like the water taxis in Long Beach? Have you ever been on those?
No, I haven't been.
So it's a boat, right? There's
Sure.
boats and they take you from different areas in Long Beach. So let's say from like Ballast Point area, so close to where Still Beach is, all the way over. There's a section that can drop you off over by the Queen Mary. But you can
Really?
take this water taxi. It's $5 each person each way. There's a bar on board too. It's just like a great place if you don't have a boat, right? Like go on the water taxi, spend $5 per person, take your family, go on a date. Like then you can go over, by the Queen Mary, walk around. I mean, I've had used that when I had my birthday party and just went with a bunch of friends and just roamed around all over Long Beach,
And so
taking the water.
where do you pick it up? Where do you start it?
So they pick up in different areas. They used to have they have one over by Ballast Point, sort of next to Boathouse on the Bay, which is over in Long Beach, but right before Still Beach starts. And so they will pick up over there, and they have a drop off that's near the Queen Mary area. And I think they have one more. I can't remember where the other one is, but they have several. And they used to have another one that was near that was near Belmont Brewing Company, but that one they haven't had open for a little while. But they do have a couple stops. So if you go online, you can look up Long Beach Water Taxi, and it'll show you on a map all the areas. But when I lived down there, I would hop on that thing all the time. And if you're visiting, it's just a fun way to get around and see the city from a different perspective, right? From the ocean.
Sure.
So affordable and very fun. And I feel like a lot of people have no idea about it. I feel like it's
No,
still.
no, so that could be one of our big ahas for this call, so thank you very much for this episode. Are there any little beaches or parks that are quieter if you wanna get away from if you don't wanna be with anyone, you wanna go just get away and read a book or just relax? Where's a good place for people to go?
I would say again, the Sunset Beach is the most open areas that I usually see, right? So I just park in the neighborhood over there, and it's just tons of open space. So if you want to go somewhere that's quiet, that is where I would go in order to have some like just quiet, peace of mind, place to read a book over there. That's where I would recommend.
Let's go to date night, assuming that you get one from time to time. Right, assuming that you have a grandma and a grandpa who will or a friend who loves to have your little one over, and I'm sure everyone would love to have her over. When it's just you and your husband, where's your go-to date night?
It's really funny you say that because we're trying to do this more because we really don't go on dates. But when we did go on dates back when we would ask grandma to watch her,
Yes.
when it was easier, we would go actually to the Improv in Irvine. So we
Oh,
love comedy. So we would go watch comedy shows, get some drinks. You can order food there, and that is where we would love to go to watch comedy. Is at the Improv in Irvine. Just park there, walk. It's not too difficult to get there, and have some really good comedians that you can see there. So
and sometimes is it the Hilton that's right on the beach or on Pacific Coast Highway? They have some great events sometimes where you can go for the weekend um, and rent a room, and then you can rent like a cabana in their pool, and so it's a nice getaway place. Also, I know my family members go there from time to time
yeah,
just to
there's
get
like the
away.
Hilton, there's the Hyatt.
A Hyatt, yep.
Like
Also,
there's another hotel over there too. I don't know if it's called like the Current or something, but there's another hotel that's newer that's
is
near
it
the
the
Hilton.
Bea or it starts with a P? I think.
Pasea. I think it's maybe the
Passaic. Yep.
Pasea.
Okay.
Pasea. There we go.
That's it. Absolutely.
So you can rent a
Absolutely.
cabana there. I do have some friends that have rented cabanas there as well.
And do you have a place where you go? I know that sometimes you have business colleagues where you'll feel the need or the opportunity to get together after work. Is there a place where you go with your friends?
I would say usually when there's just like events and fun things to go to, right? I'm gonna go see a concert at the OC Fair. Like if you're around the area, Ludacris and the Ying Yang Twins are playing. So, yeah, we're
And
gonna
the
go.
fair and speaking of the fair, the OC Fair is on right now, right? So if any of our viewers and listeners want to go to the fair, it's in Costa Mesa.
Yep, it's in Costa Mesa. It's a blast. Tons of ride, fun food. They have the pig races, which are always really fun. You can go get your face painted and grab some drinks and, not so good for you food. Have a blast. And they have a lot of concerts through the fair. So if you want to go see some music, then it's a great way to go have some fun with your family or with your friends or your significant other as well. So it's a blast. I mean, I go
Will
every year.
will you go there with your little girl? Is it a good family experience?
Yeah, we usually go during the day with our daughter and we make sure that we see the pig races, which she loves. We already did take her this year, so I definitely highly recommend going. And they even have like an animal section where there's a petting zoo. You can go see the
Oh,
animals, and you can also there's a crop section to see different vegetables being grown and fruits, and then they have a whole section for kids rides. So she went on a ton of rides. So we bought a lot of tickets for mini roller coasters and just all these fun rides for kids. So she had a blast. I definitely highly recommend taking your kid to the fair. And if you want it to be less busy, you can go during the day and during the weekday if you can.
where's your favorite place to watch the sunset?
My favorite place to watch the sunset. So I anywhere that's along the beach. So if I could go down to Huntington Beach and go on the pier, right, or to Seal Beach and go over by the pier, then you have a whole 360-degree view over there.
I do.
That's where I would enjoy watching the sunset.
And we're so lucky because as you drive north on Coast Highway through that area at sunset, you just have a panoramic view at the end of Coast Highway, right, as you drive north at sunset time. Even if
Yeah,
you have to be driving, you can't stop and watch it. It's just
it's
absolutely breathtaking.
phenomenal. Yeah. And if you're on the boardwalk, right, like it's beautiful to see the sunset when you're just taking a bike ride or a walk. So you can see that any of those boardwalks there in Huntington or Long Beach, it's always beautiful to see the sunsets from there.
It is, it is. We are so blessed here. So is there a local event or a festival that you would never miss?
A local event or festival. So we always go to the OC Fair. If I was local and if living in Huntington Beach, I would say check out the US Open if you can go. It's always a very, fun event we're lucky to have it here. No, doesn't happen anywhere else. So I would go to the US Open, and I just like to go to little things, the concerts in the park, right? And the movies on the beach. Like take advantage of the community events that you can go to. It's always a
Sure.
blast. So that's what I like to do.
Have you ever thought about leaving Southern California, living somewhere else?
I mean, so many people are moving out of state, right? When I first got into the business of in the real estate world 8 years ago, it felt like nobody considered moving out of state, right? And as
True.
you know, Val, everybody, I feel like so many people think about it. I
They
have
do.
not considered it, especially because I love it here and my husband is going to retire here with a pension at like 58. So we're not going anywhere now. And honestly, I highly doubt we'd be able to leave the ocean. Um, Thought about it, but I don't think it'd be really reality. I don't know if I could ever really leave. So I want to move
Oh,
closer
yeah.
to the beach.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think a lot of us we have this dream that we could have a home in Tennessee or a home in Arizona and one here too, right? Or a home in Nevada and one here too, but that's not always very realistic for many of us.
Mhm.
Um, what do you hope your child gets out of growing up in Southern California?
I just want her to have fun and enjoy like the outdoor activities that we have here. She's in swim class at Water Safe, which has been around forever, and she's learning how to swim. And I just want her to be able to go in the ocean, have fun, float in the ocean, right? Be able to relax and have fun with her friends, and like you said, like have the bonfires, right? Go on the water taxis, just experience this type of life that so many others don't get to experience. Just feel very fortunate, and I want her to be able to go paddleboarding or kayaking or go on Duffy boat rides, and um, be able to do those things with friends too, right? Or maybe clients one day, and just be immersed in the community around us. That's what I want her to be able to do.
Do you have Duffy rides in the Long Beach area?
Yeah. Yep. So we there are Duffy boats that are over here. They have a couple different locations. There's one near Marina Pacifica in Long Beach, close to PCH, and then there's another one that's close to Ballast Point over there in Long Beach, that you can rent them from. And again, there's the gondola rides too. So yeah, there's a lot of Duffy rentals, and or you can get Duffy rentals in Newport, right? So I take those sometimes too. Yeah, a lot of places to rent, and you can get Groupons. So a lot of us locals look for Groupons for group for Duffy rides.
Oh, sure, yeah, don't forget about the Groupons and the coupons, right? All the
Yep.
other things. If you had friends coming from out of state, You had a perfect Saturday night. What would you do together?
So I think it would depend on what their desires are, what they like to do, right? I think there's so many things that we don't take advantage of when we live here, to be honest with you, right? Because we live still close to LA. So I think if there was a sporting event that they wanted to go to, whether it's an Angels game or a Dodgers game, or see a specific concert or go some kind of sport, I'd probably take them to um, some sort of event if that's what they're into. Um, yeah, I would showcase them there. If they're kids, I know people feel differently, right, about Disneyland, but let's be honest, if there's a kid that wants to see some magic, then I think it's always a good idea to take them. My daughter went for the first time finally, and literally she can't stop talking about it. So if you're not from here, I'd recommend giving that experience.
Well, there's just nothing like Disneyland experience, right? Once you're inside the Magic Kingdom, you're in a different world. And there are so many people in this world who will never get the opportunity to be at Disneyland. And there's just something about that. Now, certainly the good news is we are so lucky that that's not the only thing to do here.
Mm-mm.
We think when people come, they all want to go to Disneyland, but I don't think that's true. I think some of the things you've talked about today, people never get to do a gondola ride, or they never get to um, go to a rooftop restaurant in Huntington Beach and look at the sunset the way that we do,
Mm-hmm.
or to go to the parks and all of the great things. And I didn't know about the water taxis, so all of these are great. Okay, so let's do some lightning round. Let's have some fun. All right, you ready?
Okay.
All right, Huntington Beach or Long Beach for breakfast?
Long Beach,
Best pier for a stroll?
Huntington Beach,
Flip-flops or tennies?
flip flops.
Tacos or pokey?
Tacos, but Pokey is not far behind.
One SoCal myth that you would love to bust?
That not everybody can afford to live here. I think you can find places.
That's nice of you to think that. Okay, 3 words that describe your SoCal life today.
Fun, exciting, enjoyable.
Great, great words. If someone came here and wanted to live like a local in Huntington or Long Beach, where would you send them?
I would send them in Long Beach. I'd send them to Second Street, go to the boardwalk, go to Horny Corner for the beach, just hang out in those areas, be immersed in the community.
Said from a true Southern California raised gal. Dana, thank you for taking us on your journey through Southern California life. This has been a real treat to see it through your eyes. I love that you reminded us that this place is more than just palm trees or just more than the surf, but it's about community and family and the memories that we get to build here. If you are our listeners and our viewers, if you're listening today and you want to see some of Dana's spots, just let us know. We'll have a list on our website and our YouTube channel for you. Maybe you'll even bump into Dana and her family. If you buy a house in this area, you may run into her that way. She may service you with your title needs. And if you're a local, tell us about your hidden gems. Where do you like to go? Where would you want to share with the other listeners and viewers of our show? Thank you, Dana, very, very much. Until next time, keep your flip flop sandy, your coffee iced, and your sunsets colorful. This is Valerie signing off from SoCal with Val. We'll see you again next week. Thank you,
Thank
Dana.
you, Val. Thank you so much. It's fun. Bye.
Did you know that for every dollar spent at a local business, nearly 70 cents stays in the community? Well, today on SoCal with Val, we're diving into a new movement that's putting Long Beach makers on the map, literally. We're joined by Liana, the creator and founder of Seeket Long Beach, a brand new startup that brings the convenience of online shopping. Think Amazon, but with a meaningful twist. Every product is sourced locally. Seek It is about discovering, supporting, and celebrating the creativity and craftsmanship here in Long Beach. And we all know there's lots of it, from handcrafted candles and artisan treats to unique home decor and wellness goods. Seek It is creating a digital storefront for the best of our city, while giving small businesses a powerful new way to reach customers. In this conversation, Liana will share the story behind the platform, how vendors can join in. So if you have an idea or a product, hold on, that's going to come. Turn up your volume, roll up your windows, and she's going to tell us why keeping it local isn't just a nice idea, it's the future of sustainable shopping. So let's jump in. Welcome, Liana.
Thank you so much for having me, Valerie.
You are welcome. So we were told about you by one of your friends in Long Beach, and they said you have to have this lady on your show. So let's get a little bit of background because I've seen your impressive background. You're an amazing lady and entrepreneur. And you've told us about your amazing family and how you were inspired by other women in your family. But what inspired you to come up with this idea and why Long Beach?
That's a great question. And part of how I ended up here is the beauty of Long Beach and how we all support each other.
We do.
So the story came from on inauguration day. I was watching and I just saw the front row of all of the tech CEO billionaires. And in my heart, I was like, I can't keep supporting the consolidation of wealth and power for these few people. And then, so I decided at that point, okay, I'm going to cancel my Prime membership and I'm going to move forward with shopping as I normally do, just without the convenience of Amazon Prime. And then shortly after there, Target, which was my haven, decided that they were going to roll back all of their DEI policies. So from there, I was like, okay, I'm boycotting Target along with everyone. I canceled my Prime membership. How can I shop as easily and conveniently? And sorry, go ahead.
No, good question.
Yeah. So I was like, it's hard for, if you're used to the convenience of finding something online and getting it delivered quickly, it's not convenient for local stores. Oftentimes, I'm not going to go to every single one of their online shops, and I'm not going to drive around town looking for the same things. So I decided that I needed to have a marketplace where I could shop and discover as easily as I could on Amazon and get it delivered as quickly, if not quicker, than Amazon as well.
And you've been able to accomplish that apparently.
Yeah, we're working on it right now.
Yeah, so those of us who are listening to you are thinking, "Whoa, I mean, that's number one, a big undertaking, and is it even possible?" We know that many people dream of creating an alternative to the monolith called Amazon, but they never follow through. It's too big of a project or they just can't get their hands around it. What made you take the leap then into action? And I mean, how did you see that you could even possibly do this?
I was talking to my community a lot of other moms and friends, and I presented the idea to them. And almost everybody I talked to is, nobody really feels great about shopping on Amazon, but it's what they need to do because it's just the modern day convenience of everything.
Sure,
And
yeah.
so although sure, it's Amazon style, when you break it down into just like the city limits right now, and that's what we're building right now for our the first flagship model is just within the city. It just feels a lot more digestible. And then from there, we can build this flagship model that can then be replicated in other cities and run by other cities in a way that feels much more like native to the local communities.
So, for our listeners and our viewers, let's just be clear about where you are. You're in the city of Long Beach,
Correct.
right? Which is pretty much the south on the coast of Los Angeles County, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's just north of Orange County
Mm-hmm.
and on the south side of Los Angeles County, right? Right on the coast.
Correct. Yeah,
Correct.
we're still in Los Angeles County, and our border is Seal Beach. So we're right on the border of LA and Orange County. And Long Beach feels so uniquely Long Beach. It's definitely not LA, and it's definitely not Orange County. So there's a
No.
very community first spirit in the city.
And it's a lot of beach vibe,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it
Casual.
has beach vibe. but lots of community. It's a university town. It's a VA hospital town, right? It's a lot of heritage, people that have been there for a long time. You have the old, big old neighborhoods, correct? Big neighborhoods of large old, not Victorian type, but the older homes. So
Mhm.
it's got a lot of diversity, as well as the little beach communities like Naples and places like that, plus the people inland. So it's a very diverse community, and that might be good for someone like you because it gives you a lot of opportunities, right? It's not just too limited. So how do
Yes.
you think that your background prepared you for launching a platform like Seeket? I mean, it's not only just there's so many elements. It's the platform, it's the vendors, it's the technology. What brought you to the point where you thought you could do this?
So I am chronically online because I own a digital marketing agency, and this year is my 10th year owning it. So I
Congratulations,
support,
by the way.
thank you. So every day I'm supporting small businesses. Primarily, our clients are restaurants and hospitality. We also do tourism and retail. So I am constantly talking to everybody, small businesses, and I understand the ins and outs and the problems and the permitting and all of that stuff. And I also carry with me like the tech digital part, which most small businesses haven't modernized to. So I feel like it's the perfect blend of being able to understand where I can meet small businesses and offer them something that they can easily move forward in the modern tech age.
So let's get into it. So what will the shopping experience be like on Seeket? Is it going to be simply an app? Is it going to be web-based? Going to be both?
So we're currently starting with and launching with the web-based platform, and it will eventually become an app as well. But we wanted to really like test the model and make sure that there was a market for it before we dive too deep into the app and additional development.
And what kind of businesses or artisans are you currently onboarding, and what's your criteria? What are you looking for?
So the criteria that we want is a Long Beach based business with a business license, the proper insurance, and goods, like physical goods to start. Because the way that we're going to do the delivery system is similar to what they call like Amazon's last mile delivery, where they take it from the store and then within a batch, we'll take it to the person's residence. So it's not necessarily like a Postmates where you pick it up from the restaurant and you take it right to the person. It'll be more of a batch delivery system. So in addition to business license, insurance, we also, I mean, we want everyone, like in the true form of Amazon, we want all people to be on there. If you're a home based business, if you're an artist, if you're a hardware store, a clothing store, all of it.
So, from the business's standpoint, what challenges do
Mhm.
they face when they're competing with giants like Amazon, and how do you help alleviate that challenge for the small business?
So the challenge that they face is just reduced foot traffic. Everybody is so used to being able to just order something online. People don't really want to go into the stores anymore.
Yeah,
And I do
that's
feel
true. So
like
true. Yeah.
that personal element is missing. And my fear and what I want Seek It to help combat is the fact that, I love restaurants, but a lot of like areas, shopping areas and main streets are now just all bars and restaurants because retail can't afford to be on Main Street anymore because the margins are thin. And we lose that third space of these places to actually go and shop same day. And for me, it's about like supporting their dreams the way that the community used to be and keeping our dollar there.
Yeah, this is interesting. We had interviewed someone this week from the Los Angeles Conservancy who talked about what happens when these restaurants or these restaurants have been there for 50 years and then they
Mhm.
disappear, then what happens to them, And this is kind of the same thing. So in a city, though, that's always changing as much as Long Beach does, because it's always moving fast forward, how do you see Seeket being able to balance scalability? And how will you be able to grow and still say local focus? Will you be able to have we have like a franchise, or what will happen? Will you be able to grow? Do you plan on just staying in Long Beach?
So my plan for Seeket is to build the best possible product in Long Beach, which includes it's starting with the Amazon style model. But I really want to become a local hub for where you find out about all of the events in the city, because there's no centralized place. The same way that LA and OC Weekly used to be able to go and be like, okay, I know everything that's happening. There's not that now. You have to like follow individual businesses and stuff to see what they post on Instagram. And I also have a model built in the future to support restaurants in a way that they aren't currently being supported. So the platform is going to expand into different verticals. And what I would like to do is be able to have that model that can be then licensed to other cities, run by other cities, because I always think about if somebody were to take this model into Long Beach that wasn't from Long Beach or didn't understand the culture, it would fall flat. And so I think that, you know, giving other cities the tools to run a successful model is going to be the secret sauce.
And how do you make money? How does Seeket make money when you advertise local events? What Certainly that's a service that we all would love to have, but how does it make you a profitable business?
The event, we're still working on the back end of the event model, but commissions through ticket sales, becoming a ticketing service, or referral based on the back end.
Sure. And the same with restaurants and so forth.
Yes, same.
Mhm.
A lot of the already like built tech, for instance, Open Table, if you discover a restaurant on Open Table and book from their site, Open Table gets $1.50 for every reservation that's made. So
Okay.
but if you go to a restaurant's website and you book directly from their website, Open Table doesn't take a referral fee.
Of course.
So there's a lot of these like back end referral fees and commissions that are already baked into the tech that I think that we can help support on the Long Beach hyperlocal side.
Sure. And then there are some people, of course, who are going to want to work with you because they believe, as you do, that why wouldn't I want to support local business,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're
Yeah.
either the vendors or the owners or the employees, or uh, just people like you who think it's the right thing to do or the best thing to do. And certainly in places like Long Beach that have been such an established city for so long, there's just something about going back to that store that's been there for 50 years, right? So what's the criteria for who your people will be? What you said everything, but if someone's artisan or they don't have a store, can they participate also?
Yeah. So I had this conversation with another woman. She's a ceramic artist, and you know, she hadn't fully heard of the delivery side of things, and she was like, "Oh, I would love to be able to deliver my work," because she doesn't have a storefront. And it got me thinking that we're also going to allow the sellers to self-deliver if they want to. So if you work from home or you have a studio from home and you don't feel comfortable with a delivery service coming, I'll be able to dispatch those shop owners to go deliver to their own customers.
And will you be a membership-based program, kind of like Amazon Prime?
Yes. So we're going to have two different memberships. One will be for the shoppers and one will be for the sellers as well. And both of them are tiered systems. So for sellers, it was very important for me to have a no upfront cost option for them. So the
Sure, of
base
course.
tier is $0, and basically you only pay the commission based on what you sell. So it's important in a marketplace to really build up the supply. And I wanted there to be very low barriers to entry. And on that note, the way that we're building out the marketplace is that if you have an existing Shopify or Square account, it syncs to your store automatically, including the inventory. So it's almost like a one-click onboarding process for the shops, because that to me was very convenient, because I know the shops are overwhelmed with all kinds of things to do.
Sure, absolutely. So this is really exciting. What are some of the businesses and vendors that you've already signed up and that have given you their commitment to be on your platform?
I have not gotten there yet. I've had over 30 sellers that have signed up.
Great.
I am currently working with the 4th Street Bid, and BID is a business improvement district. So I do the marketing for 4th Street and have for several years. And so the executive director has slated me for the agenda to start using all of the 4th Street Long Beach businesses to start onboarding.
How exciting. How exciting. And you don't have any limitation to the type of product, right? It can be anything that someone would find online anywhere else, they could find on Seeket is the plan, right?
Correct, yes.
This is really exciting. It's very exciting. This is amazing that you've been taking this on. And what keeps you motivated when you must have some hard days?
For this project in particular, it was one of those things. This isn't about me on any level. It's just something that I feel like it's my duty to the community. Because of my skill set, I feel like I'm the perfect person to get this going. And, like my developer, a good friend, have a relationship with him already with my digital marketing agency. So, and I have a marketing background, so I don't need to hire another marketing agency. Yeah. Everything is just like right in my lap, and it feels like my duty to execute it.
And where do you see Seeket in 5 years? What's your plan?
I would love to see Seeket, Chicago and Austin, and expanding into other cities.
What would you like our listeners and our viewers to know about you, or anything that you'd like them to take away from this and remember?
I would like them to take away the idea that, every day they are voting and making choices with where they spend their money. And if you can spend your money, locally and with small business, it makes such a difference. And if we're not continuing to invest in these businesses, they will go away, and then we will all end up with the same things.
And I'm sure that your supporters are all in, and they're so excited for you as well. This has been so inspiring and so exciting how one woman's vision can not only uplift an entire community, but can really make a difference in how things are done, how cities are promoted, how small business can make it. And actually, let's just realize that we are all, this is a small business country. I'm a small business, you're a small business, you've got a background in small business. And were it not for small business, where would we be? And we need to continue to support that. So if you're a maker, a creator, a small business in Long Beach, Seeket might just be the platform that you have been waiting for. And if you're a local shopper looking to buy better, shop smarter, and support the heartbeat of the city, and you've been wishing you had a way that you could shop local and go against, the big box, so to speak, this is your opportunity. So to sign up either as a buyer or as a vendor, visit SeeketLB.com. That's SeeketLB.com. And follow them on Instagram at SeeketLB. That's at SeeketLB. Liana, thank you so much for joining us and for creating a space where local truly means something. And to our listeners, remember that community is built one choice at a time. As she said, vote with your dollars, shop with your dollars. Until next time, I'm Valerie Van De Zilver, and this is SoCal with Val. We'll see you next Friday afternoon.